Welcome to Her Wealth Unscripted. We're your hosts, Susan Jones
and Sarah Gilsheimer. We believe financial decisions are most powerful when they're made with intention and grounded in what matters most to you.
This is a space for real conversations about money, life, and the moments that change everything.
Because it's more than numbers, it's the life they make possible.
I know you've done some research on Gen X and some of the transitions that you're seeing. It sounds like particularly from corporate America into maybe finding something that's more meaningful. So I'd love to hear about that if you would share.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go a little bit into professor lecture mode because this is my passion area, is helping us understand why we do the things we do. And when you think about Gen X, so those are people born between 1979 and 1994. They were called the latchkey kids. So this is the first generation of dual working parents. It is the first generation of TV as the babysitter, phones in every home. So it was really easy for parents to go do their jobs and for us to go live our lives. And so shockingly, most of us survived. I don't even know how. It's crazy, but we did. And you see the memes about drinking from the hose, like 110% true. We drank from hoses because that's the only way you got water because you weren't allowed in the house. So these like funny, quirky anecdotes about us they actually come from somewhere. And what ended up happening as part of that generation, being super independent, learning how to cook for themselves, even though they had two parents, they still needed to fend for themselves in various ways. We fended for ourselves at the park. We fended for ourselves on our bikes 6 miles away from home because nobody knew where we were. And part of that was this, I'll just figure it out. Like I'll just suffer through and figure it out. And you'll hear Gen Xers talk about, I fell off my bike and broke my arm and got on my bike and biked home for 4 miles and then had to call my mom at work and tell her to come get me, right? So the fend for yourself, the I'll figure it out is a big part of the equation. The second big part of the equation is Gen X was raised on things mean success. So I'll give you an example. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous came out in the early 80s. Cribs came out in the early 90s. Beverly Hills 90210 came out in the in the 90s. And we were all taught that those who are happy and those who succeed have stuff. And stuff costs money. So what our generation ended up doing was being like, I will sell my soul to the corporate devil or whoever's going to pay me the most money, and I will work my tail off to make the most money so that I can be successful. I'm going to have a boat. I'm going to have the second house. I'm going to have the ski lodge. I'm going to have the lake house. I'm going to be able to go on, the fancy vacations. I'm staying at the Ritz. I'm driving the Porsche. All the things, the true things, were truly and honestly status symbols. And keeping up with the Joneses is our generation. And so how to actually one up the Joneses, right? And so how to be part of society because you're there, because you've made it. So those two equations, needing stuff to show you're winning, and I'll just figure it out and nobody cares, it doesn't matter if I complain, led to this huge drive of Gen X doing careers they didn't like, they didn't feel fulfilled in, kind of making them not super happy people, dealing with multiple divorces. We have the highest divorce rate of any generation. We have, multiple kids. That's a whole nother part of the conversation. Our kids suffered because of what we did in various ways of their childhood. But it did, that was what we had to do. And so we didn't complain. We didn't ask for vacations. We didn't ask for a lot of raises or promotions. We just sort of towed the company line. Well, my brain thinks there's only so much of work built in a human. We happen to cover all of that work in the first 25 years of our careers because, you should be able to work for 40 to 50 years, however you need to survive. And then you pass away. Generations ago, you passed early, right? Well, now you live to 100. We get to 50, 55. And we're like, I am so freaking miserable. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do it anymore because we put our time in. And we have a chip on our shoulder about the other generations having to put their time in. And we're like, you have to suffer like I did. And the reality is, no, they don't, because they don't need to buy the Porsche. They don't care. And we really put ourselves through the ringer to get to this status level. And we get there and we're going, I don't even know what school my kids go to, right? I have no idea what my ex-wife is doing. My ex-husband is like, we just pass through life at a rapid speed. And so what I think is happening now that I'm seeing a lot in my clients is I've made enough money. And the new number is a different number than it used to be, obviously, but I think it's lower than people thought it would be. They're like, I'm good. Like, I don't need 10 million or 15 million in the bank. Like, I don't mind if I work a part-time job. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting tons of clients who are going, I want to get into philanthropy. Yes, I know it pays me literally a fourth of what I make right now. I want to do something nonprofit. I want to not work for 2 years so I can spend time with my kids and watch them in, junior high, high school. I want to work a part-time job so that I can pick up a hobby that I really enjoy, tennis or golf or whatever it is. And I'm seeing it, I would say probably 50% of the people I know in my work group, in my generation, are either thinking about it, talking about it, or doing it. Yeah. And I always give homage and credit to the younger millennials and Gen Z because they're starting out there. Yeah. They're like, I just need enough to pay rent, maybe with a roommate. I'm going to use public transit. You know what? I'll do a side job if I need to go on vacation. But I want to do some work that I actually feel really good about. And our generation gets really mad at that. And I think it's jealousy and envy.
Yeah. And it really is. So much of what you said resonates with me. I was a partner at a really large accounting firm and I actually loved it. But my last year was like 3,200 hours or so I worked, and I have 4 kids. And when my oldest son was graduating from high school, we were kind of gathering some, photographs and different things. And let's just say I was not delighted with how few photographs that I was actually in. So, and it wasn't because I was the one taking the pictures. To be clear, that wasn't why.
No, and it's not because we don't want that. It's right. It's this cultural pressure that we have put on ourselves as a generation. And I mean, our parents told us we work too hard. My mom tells me all the time I work too hard. She still is telling me I work too hard, even though I don't work half as much as I used to. So, but they were used to, you put in the 9 to 5, you get your hour lunch, you don't work on the vacation. You didn't have a phone to bring home. You didn't have a computer to bring home. They really had a different life. We got all of that while we were in work. And so it just turned into, frankly, burning ourselves out.